listen-only mode.
Good afternoon everyone, and thanks for joining us for our final webinar in the series for this year, which is on the topic today of local search marketing. My name's Yvette Adams and I'm excited to be presenting this session today on behalf of DD, the Department of Employment, Economic Development and Innovation. Going to get this next slide up. There we go. Should appear at your end in just a moment. Taking a little moment. Okay, basically what we've got in store for you today is just a little introduction and orientation. Something's going on. I think I know what it is. Let's see. You should now be able to see what I see. There we go. We've got it sorted. Okay, yeah, so as I was saying, what we've got in store for you today is just a quick introduction and an orientation on how to get the most out of today's session. Then we're going to look at some key points which were covered in the workbook you were supplied. Now, when you registered, you would have got a confirmation email. It would have been easy to say, yep, that's right, I'm in, nothing further needed. There was actually an action point on there, which was to download a workbook and take a look. If you haven't had a chance to do that, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. You can go in and download this workbook after the session, but we do encourage you, if you want to get the most out of this topic and really learn this topic, then we do encourage you to go and do that post-event. Finally, there'll be some time for questions at the end. Here's a picture of me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Yvette Adams, and as you can see on the screen there, I've won some business awards. I've started 4 different businesses. I'm about to start my 5th one. My first one was a newspaper business, started when I was 17. The next one, an online t-shirt business in 2002 when I was 26, and I ran that from internet cafes all over the world and later sold it. I sold the newspaper business too to an American entrepreneur after just its first issue. The Creative Collective these days is my real focus. It's a creative agency, and we're based in Maroochydore, Sunshine Coast. And we work with, as you can see on there, everyone from startups right through to large corporates, and we have clients locally here on the coast, all throughout Queensland, throughout Australia, and even some international ones too, which we're really proud of. I'm the mother of 2, which I always like to point out, that I do know what the juggle of business and parenthood is like. Mine are now aged 4 and 8. My 4-year-old will be 5 next month, which is hard to believe, and off to school. But I really like webinars for that very reason. Whether you have a home-based business and you do it around kids at home, or whether you're a very busy business person in a large corporate office, I hope that this format suits you, able to log in at lunchtime and see what's going on. Now, I want to make sure that all of you understand the technology we're using today. So what I want to do is get you to use a function which is to raise your hand, just to show me you're there, you've understood that instruction and you're on board. I can see some hands going up already, and I can see a few familiar faces or names, people who have joined us before. For those of you who aren't sure what I mean, what you need to do is click on the red arrow. That will expand the menu, and then you should see a column with a hand. So from time to time throughout today's session, I'm going to be saying raise your hand to indicate yes or no or whatever. So can I just see all the hands up? See as many as we can for now. Keep going. Yep, there's more popping up all the time. If you haven't found that yet, please do keep looking by expanding the red arrow. Now, please also know that I have a colleague on today, Jag Quimby. He's available to take any of your technical inquiries. So feel free to drop him a line on the chat function. So that's something you can also expand. Works like the Skype or the MSN chat feature. Some of you might also be used to the Facebook option. So feel free to go in there and type him a little message, or drop me a line as well, or send me questions too. Okay, let's move on and get into today. We've got lots to cover. So what is local search marketing? Hands up if you've got on today's session but you're really still not sure what this topic is all about. Be honest, put your hands up. Some of you have got your hands up from before. So there's a little tip, just put them down if that does not apply to you. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for your honesty. Look, local search marketing to me is a really important topic. It's an area online that is a good way to market your business, particularly if you're looking for low-cost or no-cost marketing strategies. Hands up if that's you. You'd love to know low-cost or no-cost ways to get your business out there and win more business. Great. It's often the way. So as you can see on the screen there, local search marketing is promoting your product or service to people interested in utilising your products or services, and if they come from a specific geographic area. So there's lots of instances where this applies. Maybe you're a doctor. Unless you're a flying doctor, you can probably only service people in a certain vicinity. Similarly, a hairdresser, an osteopath. Can anyone text chat me some more examples of jobs that you could only do from a set area? Maybe it's your own as well. Now, I am getting reports of the mic being a little fuzzy, so I'm trying to get closer and trying to speak clearly. Hands up if it's still a little bit fuzzy for you at your end. I am on a different laptop today, I do admit. It's some computer dramas. Okay, there's a few hands going up. Not sure what we can do about that. Jag, if you've got any ideas for me on how I might be able to improve that problem, I'd love your support on that one. We'll continue in the interest of time in the meantime while we're looking at some solutions at our end. Please bear with us. Okay, so local search marketing, terms like Coolum hairdresser or building company Longreach or osteopath Hamilton, they're examples of local search queries. So hands up if you go on search engines and you do put a location in with your search term when you're looking for something. Sure, lots of you do, and so do a lot of the people who are out there looking for a service, maybe one like you offer. So let me tell you some trends that are happening in local search right now. A big one that's making things go this way is that 50% of Australians now own a smartphone. Hands up if you have a smartphone yourself. That is, you can access the internet or email on your phone. Maybe it's an iPhone, maybe it's a BlackBerry, maybe it's another kind of Android type one. So those numbers are lower than usual. I can only see about 40% of hands going up there. Mostly when I talk to people, I just did another seminar yesterday, about 80% of people I meet actually have them. I don't know about your circles, but that's certainly the case in my circle of friends. Now, you can see on here too that 1 in 5 searches on Google are looking for local information, just like you said some of you are doing. So that's about 600 million searches a day. So you kind of want to be in the mix there if you're offering a product or service to a local market, don't you? You can also see 70% of online searches will use local search to find offline businesses. So they'll go look for it online and then they'll actually go into the store offline. They're using it to find local merchants to buy something offline. These are all from different sources, so I guess it depends where you're sourcing the information. Now when it comes to Google, as we've just spoken about, it's pretty common for people to type in a service or a product they're looking for and then a location. So in this query I've done here, this is just done last week, so this is exactly what the Google search term is looking like these days. I've searched builder Maroochydore. Now just to explain the terminology, this part here is your search term. That's what we're looking for, or keywords. Oops, the back page. These parts here is pay per click. So let's say you wanted to be on the front page of Google, right at the top here. Well, any of you could most certainly go on and pay to be in that space. It's a whole different strategy though. It's not what we're covering today, but it's called pay per click if you want to find out more. Now the exciting news for all of you is that once upon a time, people used to really focus on search engine optimization. And I can tell you that we actually ran a session on that recently, and the recording is available if you're interested. But the good thing is that it doesn't matter how big or small you are or how much money you have, you can certainly list your Google Places listing and you have a chance of appearing on Google. Who would like to be on the front page of Google for their business? Hands up. Okay, now keep your hand up if you're already there. You're already on Google, number on the top for what you want to be known for. Quite a few hands went down there. Some of them are still up, which is cool. All right, well this is one strategy using local search marketing techniques that we can achieve this. Before I get more specific, let me take you through what's happening online in terms of an online consumer evolution. Now we're pretty familiar with Google, most of us. And the intent when we use those search engines, of course, is I want to find stuff. Would you agree? That's what we're on there with a specific intent to find something. Next came Facebook. So social networks tend to be more for I want to tell people what I'm doing or I want to see what they're doing. Now these location-based services are taking it another step because I want to tell people where I am and find them as well. We've got the types of services such as Facebook Places and Foursquare, and I'll talk more about those in a moment. Now here's a new one to the market. This was not available earlier this year. We're always keeping an eye on trends and new technologies, and I always update these slides and try and give you the latest and greatest stuff. A crowd called Dig.com, they're very popular, have now created a new website called Oink. Now, if any of you are familiar with Facebook Places and Foursquare, you'll know that they're location-based social networks, and that you can check into places and the rest of your social network will see where you are. The thing with Oink is you can not only do that and log into a place of where you are, but you can actually rate the very thing you're having. So, for example, let's say on Foursquare, sure, you can check into the Indian restaurant you're at, let's say. On Oink, you can not only do that, but you can actually rate the exact dish you're having, say the butter chicken. So pretty well over time, people are going to start looking at this and choosing maybe the actual menus, the actual product, the actual service, type of massage, etc., based on what other people have said about that experience. Because let's face it, people trust and value their peers' recommendations. Is that the case for you? You feel comfortable doing what your friends would say was a good dish or a good service or a good place to go? Yeah? For lots of people that is the case. Okay, we're going to look at some of those a little bit more, but I wanted you to understand where the stuff is going. And if you're still back here worrying about Google and search engines, I'm really glad you jumped on today because we need to move you through this continuum into some of these new strategies. Okay, let's start off really easy. And you feel free to do this and pull it up on a screen while you're listening to me. I'd like you to go to the website http://www.google.com/maps. And then hands up when you make it there. Okay, Genevieve, Lisa, Sarah, you must be pretty speedy typers. Tracy, great. I can see the hands going up, so let the hand go up once you're there. Right, now inside that area, that next red circle where I've got search maps, I want you to type your company name. So if it were me, I would type the Creative Collective, and I may even put comma 11/12 Norval Court, my exact address. And then I want you to hit the Search Maps button. What we're trying to find out here is whether your company is already on Google Maps or not. And if it's not, you would refer to this other link here, put your business on Google Maps. Now, some of you may arrive and find that it is, and you may say, but I didn't do it. How on earth did I get there? Well, the fact that you're on there may well be because you're already listed on another directory or even in the Yellow Pages list as well. So if you've arrived to it, I now want you to look up in this top area, and if it says edit this place, that means that it's an unverified Google Map listing, and we want to change that. Those are not good listings for you, the business owner, to have. So this is Valerie's Nail Salon somewhere in California, America. So basically, she's probably listed on superpages.com, maybe White Pages or Yellow Pages over there as well. So she's got a listing, it's kindly pulled in her details, but she obviously is not tracking it. She hasn't added any details, yet people are actually giving her reviews, and she may not even know what they're saying about it. Now compare that listing to this listing, which is of course a local person, a Queensland person who is doing it right. They have their logo up, they have what services they offer, they have their opening hours, contact details, basically a whole lot more information. We can tell it's all already been claimed because it has a tick and it's owner verified. So I'd like you to text chat me and tell me if yours is an owner verified listing, you have no listing, or it's on there but it's not yet verified. What's your situation with your Google Maps? And just by the way, some of you are putting up hands. We will take a look at these later. Okay, I'm still getting feedback that the audio is not clear. Jag, if there's anything you can do for that, that would be much appreciated. And I will slow down, Jan. Thanks for that tip in case that's going to help. Okay, Vicky Taylor says hers is verified. Monique has said owner verified, verified. Okay, Dion and Scylla have no listing. So that's an action point for you two. you need to go back a couple of steps. I'll show you on here. Where are we? We're over here. So instead of typing in, we now, for those of you who don't have a listing, we want to put your business on Google Maps, and we're going to start moving forward from there. Okay. Now, for those of you who do have a verified listing, or for those of you who are going to go out and create one, I want to give you some tips on how you can maximize your Google Maps listing. Now, you find it on Maps, but then you can add to it, and it becomes a Google Place, and you can add more information. So you can add up to 10 photos. I suggest you use all the spots. You can use up to 5 videos, though they must be on YouTube. You can specify which areas you'll service. So you can see here I'm saying I'll service all of Australia. But if you just service, let's say, North Brisbane, you could most certainly specify that on there. You can specify the payment types, your hours, what categories you'll service. Now you can have up to 5 categories, and I suggest you use all of them. So basically give Google as much information as you can, and then you have a better chance of it appearing in a higher listing. Once you've done that, over time, Google Places will actually give you data so you can track how your Google Places listing is performing. Now, please note, this is different to Google Analytics. Hands up out of interest, how many of you have Google Analytics? Quite a few of you. Those of you who haven't put your hand up, I encourage you to go to google.com/analytics. I'll give you that URL. And get some tracking installed so you have a better idea of how your website is performing. So this will tell you how your Places is performing. You can see here at this point in time, this is how many people were searching website design and seeing my site, how many people were searching graphic design and seeing mine. The exciting thing is as well, Google has had a crack like Facebook of allowing you to post a status update on your Place page. These last 1 month. So you may like to post different things and just run a monthly special. You can actually even do a coupon thing. And people often do, if it's a good offer, good price, they do claim those. So it's worth having a look. Now, apart from Google Maps, that's one strategy for local search marketing, and it's free. We also have local directories. Now, you can see there that there's quite a few different ones I'm mentioning. Google Places is one of them, but Yahoo, 7, Bing, Yellow Pages, HotFrog, there's several. And you basically can break them down into free listings and paid listings. HotFrog is an example of a free listing. Hands up, some of you may already be on HotFrog. You've already taken the time to list your business on there. Just a couple of you, a few more hands going up now. There's an action point for some of you. Go to hotfrog.com.au and list your business. And look up some of the other places listed on there, some of which are free. Even Yellow Pages has a free one. So even if you don't feel that Yellow Pages is the right place for you to be, I would take up their free online listing. Why not? Now, there are also some paid ones. This particular screenshot is from a paid local directory here on the Sunshine Coast called mysunshinecoast.com.au. It's $300, and you would pay that for the year, and it generally produces quite good results. If people search just about anything Sunshine Coast, that listing performs really well. And what we're trying to do here is saturate the search engine. So whether they find you on the Google Maps, they find you on the Google AdWords, they find your website, or they find you on a listing like one of these free or paid ones, the fact is they click on it and it's you, and you have a better shot at getting the business. So I suggest you go and search for whatever your area is, directory. So Brisbane directory, Gladstone directory, Townsville directory. You may search business directory. You may search industry directories. Let's say you're a jeweller, you may search jewellery directories. Let's say you're in the wedding industry, you may search wedding or bridal directories and see what you can turn up. Tracy has given a great suggestion that Yelp has just been released in Australia, which is another directory. And good suggestion, Tracy, and I didn't even know that. I love it when my students teach me stuff. Yelp is a very good one, a big one overseas, so it's definitely a good one to look at. Jag, just still getting some reports of bad sound. If there's anything you can do to come up and help, that would be really helpful. Michael Becker is also suggesting the best of. And so you've got a question. My hand is permanently up. Do I need to put it down after answering the question? Yes, you do. That would help. Okay, on to location-based social networks. Now, some of you may have heard of these things and some of you may not. There's one called Gowalla, and it launched around the same time as Foursquare did in about 2009. As of March this year, it had 1 million users. Foursquare had 7.5 million users. The really interesting thing is that Facebook never had this service until the end of last year, but out of its now 800 million users, up to 30 million, of course, it's already got that captive audience, had tried Facebook Places by the end of last year. I did go looking for more up-to-date stats, but I couldn't find you any, but that's a bit of a snapshot. Now, like I said, we always try and find you the latest and greatest stuff, and I can tell you this week that in the location-based marketing world, this is big news. Facebook this week acquired Gowalla. So if you remember on the last slide, I said Gowalla started around the same time as Foursquare. Well, Foursquare, as you can see, doesn't have nearly as many people using it as Facebook Places, but it has had a very captive audience. And personally, I prefer Foursquare over Facebook Places because it gives you points and it's kind of fun. It makes you the mayor and so on. I'll explain that more in a moment. But it's going to be really interesting to see that with this new acquisition, what that means for Facebook Places, whether they look to use some of that technology, but certainly at this point in time, the public release is saying that they basically are taking their people and their technology will come down the track maybe. But a lot of people are cagey about Facebook using their data, and at this point in time they're saying they won't be using Gowalla's data. Sarah's just given a tip, which is that she's listening on headphones and found that using both headphones and adjusting the volume down help with the audio. So maybe that's a tip for some of you too. Lisa Watigo has said, would you recommend listing with Google Places if one is home business or web-based business? I've listed with Foursquare because I locate it in the general vicinity, whereas Google Places requires an actual street address. Lisa, I had that issue because I was a home-based business until May this year, and I used to list my home-based business, but I believe it is possible to just list the suburb and not the actual street and still successfully list your Google Places. So try that as a strategy, and that might offer you a little bit of privacy and save people knocking on your door. Okay, looking at Facebook Places, and I can see lots of questions coming in, which is great. I will go through and answer those at the end though, if you don't mind, because I may well answer it in the course of the next few slides, and I just want to keep the flow going if you don't mind. We'll come back to those text questions at the end of today's presentation. Now, Facebook Places, how I recommend you look at using these as a business owner is first to download them on your phone and start using them as a user. If you want to play with Facebook Places, go to http://touch.facebook.com and use your phone. So a place page will show you a map, a list of friends who are currently checked in at the place, and a friend activity stream. So just understand that these are not the same as Facebook pages or community pages or groups. Here's a few tips. Basically, you can add where you are to anything you share. So through your profile, you can actually use this little marker and say, I'm in San Francisco, or I'm in Maroochydore. So you can change that default, because maybe you're usually at your home location. For me, that would be Maroochydore, but maybe when I travel, I can change that too. Now you can say using this where you've been, and you can remember where you were in your favourite photos by using that tag. You can use it where you are now, and if friends are nearby, they might want to meet you. So say you check into a pub, your friends might say, oh, I'm just around the corner, I'll drop in for a drink with you. You can also say where you're going, so friends who have been there can give you tips or even join in the plan. We're going camping, maybe they want to come camping too. Now, this might sound all too much if you're a private type of person. The important thing is you can turn location on or off, and you can remove it and choose who sees where you are. So if you want to be incognito, you absolutely can be. This picture here is quite a good example of how this whole thing works. Here they are at San Fran. This is presumably Josh, and he's taking a picture of it and saying that that's where we are. Here's a local example of how this can start to be integrated with your actual Facebook page. So this is the Sunshine Plaza, the main sort of shopping centre of the Sunshine Coast, if you like. You can see that 2,240 people liked this page, 356 were talking about it, but this is a really staggering stat. 12,603 were there. That means 12,603 people have checked in on Facebook Places. If you don't think people use this in Australia, that might prove you wrong. Here's an example of what happens if you do check into Facebook Places, and why as a business owner it can be a good idea. Here's me checking in at an event recently, the Telstra Smarter Business Magazine live and local event. I asked the people I was with if they would mind if I tagged them, and they didn't. Now that's etiquette, and it's important to ask. They may have a really good reason why they don't want you to tell people where they are. Maybe they shouldn't be there. And then we say the place. Now it's pretty good for Maroochydore RSL to have people checking in regularly and popping up on their Facebook. For instance, I have 1,050 friends. Now of those 1,050 friends, if I keep on checking into Maroochydore, do you think one of them or some of them might at some point need a venue? And that might jog their memory that Maroochydore RSL, for instance, runs events like that. Look, checking in can also just be a bit of fun. Here's my colleague checking in at CBX, which is a local pub, and he's become the mayor because he's checked in the most time. And you can see here that if you do so many check-ins, they actually give you specials. So there's quite a lot of fun to be had with these from a personal point of view, but also good if this is your business and people are out there actively promoting you without you paying them. Now this will work. It is important to set up Facebook right from the start when it comes to Facebook Places, and if you need help with this, please refer to our social media session we've held previously. You've really got to look at which one of these will suit your business, but pretty much today we're talking about the local business or place in this context. Then we have Foursquare. Hands up out of interest if you are using Foursquare already. Vicky Taylor is, Christina Underwood, I don't know how to say your surname, Christina Yu, Christina Barber, Danielle, Lisa, wow, quite a few of you. So Foursquare is really fun. I really like it. So similar to Facebook, you download the app on your phone. A lot of these phones, as you can see there, have it. Then you build your network. So one of the first things I'll do is ask you to connect it to your Facebook or your Twitter or your Gmail or Hotmail or one of those online accounts. And you can then go through and you may be pleasantly surprised to find some of your contacts are already on there. Once you've built your network, you can start checking into places. So it's kind of a mental note that when you go somewhere that you don't mind telling people to pull up where the location is and check in. If it's not already there, you may want to add it, and you get bonus points for doing that too. You can choose to tell friends where you are or not. So again, just like Facebook Places, if you want to be incognito, you can be. If you want to tell your Facebook friends and not your Twitter friends, you can. If you want to tell your Twitter friends and not your Facebook friends, you can. And if you want to tell nobody but just check in, you can too. You can also add and share tips on venues. For instance, I checked in at our local movie cinema, and they of course have online ordering and a cheap night Tuesdays. I added that as a tip to that venue on Foursquare, and I get quite a lot of positive comments from people saying thanks for that tip. You can also earn points, and like I said, this does not translate to money. It's just a bit of fun. But if you're a little bit competitive like me and you like a bit of a game, it might just bring out the inner child in you. And over time on Foursquare, you can also unlock badges. For instance, I recently unlocked the Jetsetter 2 badge because I check into a lot of airports. If this all sounds still quite futile to you and you're kind of struggling with how this translates into business and business dollars, let me take it a step further. Number one, you want to be on here because people are looking for your business on here or the service you offer. I'll give you a story. Earlier this year, I was with the social media specialist for the Creative Collective, Zoe DeLuca, in Sydney, and we were in Chinatown, and we were looking for somewhere to eat. And pretty much down Chinatown, if any of you have been there, they're all $18 banquets. They were all offering the same sort of thing. So to decide which one we'd go to, I looked on Foursquare. And and I found that on Foursquare there were good tips and recommendations for some of them in particular, and even better, some of those special places had even better than the $18 special. So one of the first things I do when I'm in a new city is to check into where I am and then find out what specials are nearby. So again, in Sydney recently, I found that there was a place with happy hour from 5 till 7, a place where you could get a free side order of chips, etc. Now, some of you may not be that driven by price, but it's a bit of fun. Most people like a bargain. If you want to drive people to your business, this is a really good strategy for you. Who thinks they might want to try this because it would really suit their business? A few hands going up there. Cool. Glad to have helped you. Now, one thing a lot of people struggle on, and this is not just on location search marketing, but also on social networks in general, is what sort of specials or status updates to do. Well, here's a few ideas. One, you can do a special. So here's one, free chips and salsa today from 4 till 6, and we'll throw in free guacamole. You can also promote events like Kids Eat Free on Tuesdays. You can do promotions of new products. Have you checked out our new pastries? You could promote news. Welcome to the team member, our new head chef straight from London. Or inspiration. Check out our new menu inspired by the royal wedding. So you can have a lot of fun with this. And if you're just not a creative type, maybe get some help from it. Within your organisation, maybe someone else is better at that. Or there are, of course, professionals who are very good at this. Now with Foursquare, they actually name the person who checks in the most the mayor, which is kind of fun. There's actually companies in America that are doing this kind of thing. You get this seat, which is the best seat, it's at the front, right by the window, if you are the mayor of that restaurant. This is Arby's, if anyone has been to America. It's a chain. So think of ways that you could reward your #1 check-in person, because they probably are a VIP. Maybe it's putting their name in lights or on a blackboard. So here's another example of who's doing that. And some friendly competition could go on between those two people. Here's some other examples. You know, literally in America, they are putting these things on billboards. And if you're looking for a competitive advantage in your business, maybe you could put some signage up at your store or shop or on your car to encourage people to do this. Now, Foursquare actually hand out these free decals, and we got ours in the mail today, which is pretty exciting. They send them to you for free once you have verified your business listing on Foursquare. Once you've verified, you can also start adding specials and testing things to see if you can get this thing working. So to get it working, you've got to also let people know that you're actually on these networks. And you can do this via Twitter and other social networks. We're on Foursquare, join us over here, and so on. By ordering your free decal, that's this thing, and sticking it on the window so that when people come to your office, they are reminded to check in. You could put up signs at cash registers and sandwich boards like we've just seen in the past slide, signs on tables. You could create your own signs or cards, put it on your email signature or even on your business card as well. So there's a few creative ideas. Now, yet another location-based marketing strategy is to encourage reviews, also known as citations. Who already has quite a few reviews of their business online? Hands up. Vicky does, Jeffrey does, great, Stilla does, and there's a few hands that haven't gone down, so I'm presuming, I'm not sure if you're in or you're out. The question was, Christina, hands up if you've already got lots of reviews online about your business. Well, I'm here today to tell you that reviews are really good. Now, this can be a little bit of scary territory for some businesses because, sure, if you offer the opportunity to have reviews, people could give you a bad one or one that's not so glowing as you may like. I can tell you that on Google it is possible to go on and add a review, and I've, through my coaching of certain businesses, encouraged them to use the link to their Google Place listing and send it out to clients and encourage people to post a review, and that has really helped with their Google Places ranking. It's meant that they've come up higher on the search engine. If you Google, knowing that people are doing that more, realise that people also wanted to be able to control or respond to perhaps negative reviews. So now on Google Places, you can actually respond. I'll give you some tips on how you might like to respond if the review is not desirable in just a moment. So that's one place you can encourage reviews. Lots of those sites that I showed you earlier, like TrueLocal and HotFrog, you can also encourage reviews on. So that's a good thing to do. And there's even industry-specific ones. So if, say, you're in the tourism industry, TripAdvisor is a big one. And like I said, through searching online, you might find others. I know of a company locally here on the coast, it's a bed and breakfast. They send out, rather than get people filling in forms when they want to leave and they're all done, they've had a happy time, they email them with a link to TripAdvisor asking them to write a review about their stay. And they've got hundreds of reviews now, and they're mostly positive because they're very good at what they do, and that has really helped them to build their business, win awards, and so on. You can also ask for recommendations on Facebook and Foursquare now. I know just this week I gave a recommendation to my favourite day spa on the coast, which again comes up and all my networks see it. Now this is a multiplying effect because the average person these days, it used to be 130 friends, the average person now has 220 friends on Facebook. So if you times their 220 friends by their 220 friends, you're straight away talking about some quite significant numbers. This is where the stuff really does work. It's not word of mouth, it's world of mouth. This thing just goes out, it amplifies. Another suggestion on getting new reviews is to get ideas on where your competitors have reviews coming from. To do that, go into places and search for whatever you do. Let's say Restaurant Maroochydore, and see where some of them are coming from. So we can see that this one's urbanspoon.com. So you could therefore target them and get people going to provide reviews. So that's another strategy that is worthwhile doing. Who thinks that that might be a good strategy for them? Great. Now, like I said, I do want to make sure that I give you some tips on how to manage your online reputation, because entering social media networks, location-based marketing, and reviews as well does mean you are sort of exposing your brand a little bit. I do think that the benefits far outweigh the risks, so I wouldn't not do it because of those risks. But here's some options for response if you don't like what they say. Number one is you can stay silent, but at least be aware, because maybe it was a staff member that caused that bad service or bad product quality to go out, so you can deal with it internally. Number two is you can buy yourself time. So you could respond and say the matter has been referred to management, and then plan a response, perhaps with the input of the rest of your team or even with professional advice. Number three is one of my favourite strategies, and that is to kill them with kindness. So, you know, respond in the vein of, I'm so sorry to hear that, please tell me how we can fix it. Would you accept another free night at our accommodation, or whatever it may be? Because then publicly, not only is there a moan, there's a very public, responsive, caring person who's prepared to make this work. Sometimes if you don't know what to do, actually ask them what they would like you to do. How can we fix this? Can you give me some suggestions? And then you can work with what's reasonable and what's not. 5 is to personally see it through to the end. I wouldn't pass it on to someone in the team to respond, and they may not, which could be even more damaging for your reputation. And number 6 is, if for any reason you've got quite a few bad reviews or bad things appearing on search engines, is to go out and have a strategy of saturating it with good stuff, making it go to the 2nd or 3rd page on Google or other search engines, which the new stat is 80 or 90%, I believe, of people don't go past the 1st page. So that should do quite a lot of damage control for your brand. So look, here we go in summary of what we've covered today. Quite a few points, hopefully some takeaways for you. Number 1 is you can claim your free listing on Google Maps or Google Places. Add your listing if you don't already have one. Put as much information in it as you can, and then start using its functions, like the coupons and monitoring your stats. You can also get started with Facebook, Places, and Foursquare, both as a user first and later as a business, and using some of that great technology I've showed you, like adding tips and specials and things. You can encourage check-ins and sharing by featuring it on your marketing and your signage and so on. Encourage reviews and citations, and importantly, always measuring and monitoring everything. We do give some tips on some monitoring tools in our social media sessions, so please refer to that. And make sure you do respond if you need to. Now, I did mention at the start of the sessions that there's a whole workbook related to this topic, and it's available from smallbusinesswebinars.com.au. Simply locate the local search marketing topic, and there you will find a recording of the last time we ran the session, a transcription, and a downloadable workbook. Today's session will be made available on there in a couple of weeks. You can also watch past webinar recordings. I've referred to social media, there's cloud computing, there's financial topics, there's business continuity planning, there's quite a few. They're all also on that website. Now I want you to know that there is a lot of support available from DD on their website, which is business.qld.gov.au, on their hotline, which is 132523, and they've even got a Facebook and Twitter page. I really encourage you to go on there. They're just building, they're just learning and getting started in the space. But if we can all pass on that they're now on there, they are putting out some really great tips and information and opportunities, funding. I'm sure businesses are always looking for. That's where you'll find them too. And please feel free to share those links with your friends as well. Now, I'm going to send a link to you, which is a link to get some survey response, just so you've got it there. But I'm just going to open it up for questions as well, because we've still got lots of time to run through those questions. So here comes the link for the survey. There we go. Now, if you could raise your hand if you've got a question, and in the meantime, I'm going to canvass some of these text chats I've received from some of you. Okay, looks like Carmel might have a question. I'll unmute you. Hey Carmel, did you have a question?
No, love, no, I've just been just listening and taking it all in. No, it's all good. I just was wondering if Jag had a drinking problem, though, being the mayor of the pub.
Does Jag have a drinking problem? Good question. No, I don't think he does. He is just a, typical 18-year-old, I think. All right, Christine, you've got your hand up. Christine Barber, did you have a question? I'll unmute you. Christine, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. Did you have a question, or your hand was just up from before?
I think it was just up from before. No, I didn't have one. But I just wanted to check with you anyway. With places on Google, you can only have one business listed there, can't you?
If you're running two businesses from the one location, do you mean?
Yeah.
I have not had to encounter that one. I would probably look up Google Places help section. Yeah, that could be tricky to offer two businesses from the one location.
Yeah, we only seen the one coming up, so yeah, maybe. But.
You know how to find the help? It's usually just in the top right once you're logged in. And I would just search for two businesses, one location, something like that. There's bound to have been someone else who's had that situation, and see what they recommend there.
Alrighty, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we've got Zilla who's got her hand up. So everyone who has their hand up, just a reminder that I'm unmuting you, so put your hand down if you don't have a question. Zilla's put hers down. Oh, it's back up again. No, it's down. She's having some fun with that one. Looks like Danielle might have a question though. How can I help you, Danielle? No, she's put her hand down too. It's such a funny game how people do this. Genevieve, have you got a question? Genevieve back.
Yeah, hi Yvette. I'm just wondering, the business that I want to set up is going to be based obviously in my location, but I'm targeting a national audience. Can I advertise the check-in with Foursquare principle on my website to get people to check in and sort of get that national presence happening?
Well, so for starters, Google Places, you can still say where you're based, but as you've seen with me, I service nationally, so I've specified that by setting the pinpoints, they're called, of the whole of Australia. So that's something to do in Google Places. In regards to Foursquare, you could certainly have a location. If people won't actually physically be visiting you, they're not really going to use the checking in thing. But it's always a good principle, even if you are a national business, to be very strong locally. And if it's suitable, to let people know where you are and know that they can come in and visit and support you as well. Does that answer your question?
I was just thinking, even just to get, because the Foursquare app, does it appear on Facebook profile pages when people check in? I was thinking even just to get increased national presence around the social networks.
Well, sure. So if local people check in, anyone on their social network, if they set it to show their friends on Facebook, they will see that. And often people do have people nationally and even internationally in their networks, don't they? Have I got you still?
Yeah, it cut out just for a little bit.
Okay, so I'll just repeat that. Absolutely, if local people are checking in and then they're letting that update go to their Facebook, often they have national or international friends in their networks, and they would certainly see that they've checked into this place, and then those international or national contacts may click on that place to see where their friend's been going and what it's all about, particularly if the friend is making a recommendation or statement about how great it is.
Sure, but you wouldn't recommend having a four-square little advertisement, say, on the website, say, because I'm obviously in Queensland, to encourage people from, say, Western Australia to check in.
Yeah, because you can't actually check in unless you're in a close vicinity. They won't physically be able to. So, for instance, I did an experiment whilst I was on a boat in the Whitsundays. I tried to check into as many islands as I could, and it was quite a good experiment. From quite far out, I could actually check into quite a few. But yeah, often it will say you're too far away from this venue, and I can guarantee you that your WA clients will not be able to check into your Queensland venue. That would be way too far. Only if they came to Queensland to visit you.
It does do a proximity sort of search.
It sure does.
Okay. Well then, yep, fair enough then.
All right. Thanks for that. We'll move on to someone else and give them a go. Jeffrey, how are you today?
Hey Yvette, how you doing? Am I coming through clear?
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, I want to start a local search marketing business here in Cairns. How would I convince local businesses that this would be good for them?
I guess you could get them to watch this webinar because if other people have watched this and think it's a good point, then that's good. I guess you've just got to, like any business service, come up with a compelling case. Now, usually marketing is driven around the problem. So I guess you need to think of what the business's problem is and then provide a solution, which is the service you're talking of. Now, I would have thought that a problem for a lot of businesses is that they're not getting enough foot traffic into their shop, their restaurant, their tourist attraction, and so on. So maybe that's the problem, you sell them, and then the solution is that they start using location-based marketing as a marketing strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're on to Michael, who's had his hand up for a little while. How you going, Michael? No, it's down. He didn't really want to ask a question. What about Petro? Petro, did you have a question? Perhaps not, and we'll try Cherie, that's the last hand up, and then we'll go to the text chat. Cherie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you have a question, Cherie?
I did, but I think I might have just missed one. Someone else might have actually asked the same one. But I know we do carpet cleaning on the Gold Coast, and we're based in Coomera, but we obviously don't clean carpets at our house. We do it at other people's places.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it's still effective if our clients were to, say, check in with us, even though they're not at our place, we're doing it at their place?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Look, the viral effect could still work, possibly. Do people ever come to your offices? Do you have an office, or is it a home-based business?
It's a home-based, only because we only really have the office from home.
Sure.
But we are in the new year, hopefully, cleaning rugs on site, so I guess that would work.
Sure.
But even if we had clients that were happy to click in saying that they were using us at least, I guess that's still advertising and free, I guess, maybe.
You know what I would do? I'm going to flip this on its head, and this is thinking laterally. And once you get your head around the basics of this, which is all I'm able to take you guys through in an hour, there's all sorts of possibilities. I think Google Places would absolutely be something you should be on, because people may be searching carpet cleaner, Coomera, carpet cleaner, Gold Coast, those sorts of things, and you want to be featured in that list there so you've got a chance to get that market. But then conversely, how about if you were to get your clients on there, let's say they're commercial clients, and you were to check in when you went there, and not only when you did that, you put a tip on at their venue. So let's say that it was the local movie theatre, and let's say you clean the carpets there. You could add a tip and say, if you've admired the clean carpets at the movie theatre, ask us and put a little plug in for yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. Definitely.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
a lot
this
to be
restaurant
done.
gets their carpet cleaned by our company. Put your thing in. So look, there may be some rules around that. You'll have to check the fine print on Foursquare. But I do know a real estate agent in New York has been checking in everywhere and putting tips everywhere about how he sold that place and how he helped to market this and that. And that's been a pretty good strategy for them as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then we have a child in the background. That's what these webinars are so good for. Okay. Lisa asked, we've already covered that question. I'm just going through the text chat. What's the difference between Max and Places? Bobby Lee wanted to know. Look, they're kind of integrated together and it is confusing. Max can be used just to literally get from A to B, but over time lots of businesses have been listed on Max. To administrate the listing on Maps is where you use Google Places. So they are kind of one and the same, but they can also be used strictly for maps. So let's say I was trying to get from my place to your place for a meeting. I could go into Google Maps, and I often do this, and type in your business and mine, and then the Get Directions button. So that's the difference. I hope that's clear. Jeffrey said, why don't you have an iPhone? Do you prefer BlackBerry? I get asked this a lot. Yeah, look, I chose BlackBerry for a few reasons. I get a lot of email and it compresses the email and it's a high security. You find a lot of celebrities have BlackBerry was one of my reasons. I also use PC, so if you're using Macs, then iPhones and iPads make sense. Look, if I had my time again, I may have gone iPhone. But my BlackBerry does do most stuff I want it to do and has a lot of apps as well. So there we go. Okay. Where do we get a copy of this webinar, Jeffrey asked? I think I answered that. So that's on that smallbusinesswebinars.com.au. Sarah James has said, very scary to have reviews in healthcare. Fair enough, Sarah. I get that. There are certain industries that this may not suit. However, one thing I want to make you guys aware is the fact that you're on here is great because people might be doing reviews and you may not even realise they are. So whether you're encouraging it or not, could be a good idea to monitor that and make sure that if there is any feedback, whether it's good, bad or otherwise, you're aware of it. Okay, Christina said, not about our business per se, we're the Tourism Bureau, but our local businesses in our area have lots of reviews across many different platforms. We try to help them grow, not ourselves. Sure. So Christina, if they have lots of reviews across many different platforms, that's probably a good thing. Look, different user markets, particularly in tourism, say European versus New Zealand market versus Melbourne market, etc., do use different websites. Some like TripAdvisor, some like Lonely Planet, some will literally just search online. So we do want reviews in different locations to hit different markets. Christina's also said for TripAdvisor, you can download a widget for your website, which encourages people to leave you a review there, and then Google TripAdvisor. Oh, okay. So Google TripAdvisor widget, and you'll find that. So that's a great tip. Thank you, Christina, for sharing. I think we've answered Genevieve's text questions. Bobby wants to know, how do I add a Google Place for a client if the code comes to a mobile phone? I put my mobile phone, then do I change the mobile phone and Google Places back to my client? You can then go in and edit the listing, I believe. So you would get it to verify it, and then you would go back in and change it back to their number. You may have some issues with that. Generally, we would actually empower the client to do their Google Places listing, although sometimes we do go through and improve them after the fact. Tracy Ryteri, Google Places, use a unit number if using two businesses from the one location. There you go, Christine, that could be an idea. So 1/, the number of your streets, and then 2 / the number of your streets, 2 different businesses. Okay, what else have we got here? Any ideas what happens when you move office location? Well, Sarah, you need to go in and update your office location. So I had a client who was on Google Places earlier this year. She did move, and we did need to log in and amend that. So really important that you do actually keep these usernames and logins in a safe place, and that you do take the time to go in and update them. And Jeffrey has said that he gave me good feedback, so that's very nice of him, isn't it? Look, I think we'll wrap it there. So thank you very much for logging on today for our last webinar of the year. It's hard to believe that it's that time already. We've had a really great time delivering these all year. We love connecting with you. We love it when you teach us stuff. And we hope you've got a lot out of them too. So whether this is your first webinar or your 20th this year, thanks for joining in. And look, these webinars will be offered by DD again next year. Keep attuned on their website, business.qld.gov.au, to find out when they're delivered and what topics, and to plug in again next year. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.